The United States is filled with opportunities, but as beautiful a country as it is, it has some of the most dangerous cities in the world. So, before you eventually move to America, I decided to make this video to tell you about the 10 most dangerous places in America. So, friends, I would like it if you like the video, drop a comment, and subscribe to my channel. So, without further ado, let's get started. Number 10. Chicago, Illinois. First up, Chicago. The windy city with its towering skyscrapers, deep dish pizza, and a population that stood at over 2.7 million people, according to the 2020 census. But here's where it gets gritty. Chicago's reputation for crime isn't just a plot for the next blockbuster crime drama. With parts of the city like West Garfield Park leading the charge, the total crime rate skyrockets to 13,135 crimes per 100,000 people. Yeah, you heard that right. The nature of these crimes ranges from shootings to robberies. Chicago has now become a city battling its own shadows. Despite efforts by the government to curb this violence, newcomers are advised to keep their wits about them. It's a city of contrasts, where vibrant culture and daunting crime statistics coexist. Number 9. Atlanta, Georgia. With its bustling population of approximately 500,000 folks as of the latest estimates, isn't just known for its vibrant culture and booming music scene. It's also got a bit of a dark side, particularly when it comes to crime rates. In 2022, Atlanta police reported more than 22,000 index crimes. That's about 44.8 crimes per 1,000 residents, which, let's be honest, isn't exactly a number that'll make you sleep easily at night. And if you're wondering about the hotspots for these crimes, look no further than Oakland City. This neighborhood takes the cake for being the most dangerous in Atlanta, with a violent crime rate of 1,246 per 100,000 people. From thefts to robberies and everything in between, Oakland City has seen it all. The government's been trying to clamp down on this wave of violence, but it's like playing whack-a-mole. For every criminal caught, another pops up. Number 8. New Orleans, Louisiana. Let's take a trip down to New Orleans, Louisiana. The Big Easy is famous for its jazz, Mardi Gras, and unfortunately, its crime rate. With a population hovering around 390,000, New Orleans has a charm that's hard to resist, but it's also got a crime rate that's hard to ignore. Violent crimes, property crimes, you name it, New Orleans has been wrestling with these issues for years. Specific areas like Central City and the 7th Ward are notorious for their high crime rates, making some parts of New Orleans less about the party and more about the precaution. The nature of crimes in New Orleans ranges from burglaries to high-profile shootings. Despite efforts by local authorities to improve the situation, crime remains a significant concern. It's a city of contrasts. On the one hand, you have a very vibrant city with festivals everywhere you look. On the other hand, you see a city with scary crime statistics. Number 7. Cleveland, Ohio. With a population that's seen better days, currently sitting at around 361,662, isn't exactly the poster child for safety. To put it in perspective, your chance of becoming a victim of either violent or property crime here is 1 in 17. Yeah, you heard that right. Now, let's talk specifics. The city has neighborhoods that even Google Maps might think twice before entering, places like Scoville Avenue, which has been named the second most dangerous neighborhood in America. The nature of crimes we're talking about? Grand theft, gang activity, all of it. It's a tough scene, really. And while the government has been trying to curb this violence, newcomers are advised to stay vigilant. Remember, it's always better to be safe than sorry. But wait, there's more. Cleveland's history of violence isn't just a recent trend. This city has seen its share of dark days, from environmental disasters like the Cuyahoga River catching fire to racially motivated confrontations. While you might learn of these incidents in history class, it is a solid reminder of some of the ancient challenges this city still faces. Number 6. Oakland, California. Moving westward, let's chat about Oakland, California. Now, Oakland is a city of contrasts. On one hand, it's got this incredible cultural scene, a booming tech industry, and some of the best food you'll ever taste. On the other hand, it's got a bit of a representative for being risky. With a population of around 433,031 people navigating their way through the city's ups and downs, Oakland's crime rates have been a concern, with violent crimes being particularly troubling. The city's efforts to combat these issues have been ongoing, but it's like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube that keeps changing colors. For those thinking of making Oakland their home or just visiting, it's wise to stay informed and cautious. After all, knowing is half the battle. Number 5. St. Louis, Missouri. With its iconic Gateway Arch, stands as a symbol of the American frontier spirit. Yet, beneath its historical grandeur and architectural marvels lies a narrative that's been tough to shake off. As of 2020, the city proper had a population of 301,578. But don't let the numbers fool you. It's what happens within these bustling streets that has caught national attention. The crime rate in St. Louis is a staggering figure, with the city experiencing 87 crimes per 1,000 residents. To put it into perspective, your chance of becoming a victim of either violent or property crime here is 1 in 11. Downtown St. Louis, in particular, has been spotlighted for its high volume of crime, ranking number 1 in crime volume among all St. Louis city neighborhoods as of February 2024. But what kind of crimes are we talking about? Well, everything from homicides, which saw the police reporting 158 killings in 2023, its fewest in a decade, believe it or not, to thefts, robberies, and assaults. It's a mix that keeps the community and law enforcement on high alert. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. The city has been fighting back with efforts to curb violence and improve community relations. But newcomers and visitors are advised to avoid certain neighborhoods. And if you're looking for a bit of dark humor, consider this. In St. Louis, the odds of running into trouble might just be higher than finding a good parking spot downtown during a Cardinals game. Number 4. Baltimore, Maryland. Affectionately known as Charm City, has a population that's been on a bit of a roller coaster. As of 2024, it's sitting at around 556,723 souls trying to make the best out of life. But despite its numbers, Baltimore's crime rate has been a thorn in its side for years. In 2021, the city had a violent crime rate of 1,922 per 100,000 residents. That means your chance of being a victim of violent crime in Baltimore was 1 in 64. Property crime? Even more common, with a 1 in 30 chance. Not exactly the odds you want to play with. Now, let's zoom in on the parts of the city that crank up Baltimore's representative for danger. The East Baltimore neighborhood, known as Middle East, takes the cake for being the most dangerous part of town. With a population of 7,100, this area is infamous for its urban decay and high crime rates, despite being a stone's throw from the prestigious Johns Hopkins Medical Center. But what's behind all this chaos? Well, Baltimore has been wrestling with issues like drug trafficking, gang violence, and a series of high-profile incidents that have kept the city in the national headlines for all the wrong reasons. Remember the uproar following Freddie Gray's death in 2015? That was a tipping point, highlighting deep-seated tensions between the community and law enforcement. The city's leadership hasn't been sitting on their hands, though. Efforts to curb the violence have seen some success, with a notable reduction in homicides and non-fatal shootings in recent years. But it's an uphill battle, one that requires more than just policing to win. Economic development, education, and community programs are all part of the mix, aiming to provide alternatives to the cycle of crime. So, if you're planning a visit or thinking of moving to Baltimore, don't write it off just yet. Like any city, it has its good and its bad. The Inner Harbor, Federal Hill, and Fells Point are vibrant areas that showcase the city's charm. Just be street smart, stay aware of your surroundings, and maybe avoid those late-night strolls through the more notorious neighborhoods. Number 3. Birmingham, Alabama. When we talk about places with a reputation that precedes them, Birmingham, Alabama, often makes the list, and not for reasons cities typically aspire to. With a population hovering around 196,197, more than just Southern charm, Birmingham has been grappling with a crime rate that would make even the bravest soul pause. We're talking about a violent crime rate of 1,682 per 100,000 residents as of late 2023. To put that into perspective, that's like if you gathered a group of 100,000 folks from anywhere, statistically nearly 17 of them would have been victims of a violent crime. That's no laughing matter and certainly not a statistic to be proud of. And before you ask, yes, these crimes include the heavy hitters: murder, manslaughter, rape, robbery, and aggravated assault. But wait, there's more. Certain parts of Birmingham are notorious for being hotbeds of criminal activity. Places like north-central Birmingham, Ensley, Jones Valley, and Garden Highlands often find themselves in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. The nature of crimes here isn't just limited to violent offenses. Burglaries, thefts, and motor vehicle thefts are also part of the package. In fact, the property crime rate stands at a staggering 7,427 per 100,000 people. Imagine. For every 100,000 residents, about 7,427 would have had their peace disturbed by property crime. It's like the city is playing a twisted game of bingo where nobody wants to shout, "Bingo." Jokes aside, the situation in Birmingham is a complex web of socio-economic challenges, historical context, and efforts to curb the violence that seems to have deep roots in certain areas. The government and local authorities have been wrestling with these issues, trying various strategies to bring down the crime rates, from community policing to youth engagement programs. The efforts are ongoing, but it's an uphill battle. For newcomers or those considering Birmingham as their next home, it's a case of forewarned is forearmed. Being aware of the city's challenges doesn't mean avoiding them like the plague, but it does mean exercising caution, staying informed, and perhaps getting involved in community efforts to make Birmingham a safer place for everyone. Number 2. Memphis, Tennessee. With a population hovering around 633,114 as of the 2020 census, sings the blues not just through its music but also through its crime statistics. The overall crime rate here is a staggering 237% higher than the national average. To put numbers into perspective, there were about 2,420 violent crimes per 100,000 residents reported in 2022. That's like walking down Beale Street and feeling the weight of those numbers in every step. The parts of the city with the highest crimes are areas like downtown, Parkway Village, Oakhaven, and Whitehaven Coral Lake. These areas are notorious for making residents and visitors keep a vigilant eye over their shoulders. The nature of crimes we're talking about? A buffet of burglaries, aggravated assaults, and, unfortunately, a murder rate that's uncomfortably high. It's like the city is stuck in a loop of Groundhog Day, but instead of Bill Murray, it's a police siren soundtrack. And while the Memphis Police Department is fighting the good fight, trying to curb this violence, it's an uphill battle that leaves many wondering about the efficacy of their strategies. But it's not all doom and gloom. Memphis is also a city of resilience, with communities banding together, striving for change, and creating a safer environment. Newcomers are advised to stay aware, connect with local community safety initiatives, and maybe, just maybe, help turn the tide. Number 1. Detroit, Michigan. Now let's motor on up to Detroit, Michigan. Once the booming heart of America's automotive industry, Detroit has faced its share of economic downturns, leading to a variety of urban challenges, including crime. With a population that peaked at 1.85 million in 1950 but has since dwindled, the city still grapples with high crime rates. Detroit stands as the city with the highest crime rate in the U.S., with Memphis trailing close behind. Violent crimes, property crimes, you name it, Detroit has been trying to combat them all. Now, if you thought Detroit was a solo act in Michigan's crime drama, let me introduce you to Flint. This city, with a population of about 81,500, experiences an alarming 81 incidents per 1,000 residents. Flint's story is a cocktail of economic decline, poverty, and lack of resources, shaken together with a dash of desperation. The city has been battling with crime for years. From drug-related offenses to burglary and theft, it's a tough situation that doesn't seem to have an easy fix. And there you have it, folks, the 10 most dangerous places in America. If you're planning to move to the United States, stay informed and vigilant. While these cities have their challenges, they are also home to vibrant communities working hard to bring about positive change. Thanks for watching, friends. Kindly like and subscribe to my channel to see more of these videos.